guys, what's going on? It's Ash here coming at you today in Clash Royale. Balance change announcements are finally here. I anticipate they will come this week, hopefully Monday, hopefully with the Clan Wars update. We'll have to wait and see, but I am hyped. I am pumped. I saw that Clash Royale tweeted this yesterday. I don't know what it is, but I guess it's where the ship takes you, and I guess it's Clan War land. I don't know. We'll see, though, in just a few days. So for today, it's balance changes. This just was announced. I've been scrambling here at the office, trying to get this to you guys as soon as humanly possible. So really early today on the balance change info for you guys. So we have 5 hard buffs, 3 soft buffs, 3 nerfs, 1 soft nerf, and 5 mechanical changes slash bug fixes. So let's get right to them with my favorite buff of all. It is Dart Goblin. Now it's only a 3% damage buff, so it takes him from 93 tournament level standard per dart to 96 tournament level standard per dart. That takes his damage per second from 143 to 147, and that will change a major interaction. He can now 2-shot instead of 3-shot minions, which I think is going to go a long way. It's a small percentage, only 3%, but that's a major interactional change for the Dart Goblin. And I know a lot of you guys already love Dart Goblin before this buff, so hopefully you're excited about it just like I am. Number 2, it's the Knight. The Knight is getting a little bit of his nerf back. I think it was a 5% nerf. He's getting 3% hit points back in this balance update. So his hit points now, all these numbers will be at tournament level standard, so I'll stop repeating it every time. So his hit points will go from 1314 to 1350 now after the a little bit of that last nerf given back to him. I think they went a little bit too far with the last nerf, and his usage rates went a little bit too far down. Next, we have Skeleton Barrel. So again, you guys will remember that Skeleton Barrel originally had 8 skeletons. Then they nerfed it to 6 skeletons, and it went from a really popular card to a really unpopular card. Now they're hoping to get that balance perfect with 7 skeletons. So 1 skeleton being added to the Skeleton Barrel. Next up, we have the Barbarian Barrel. Barrel is going to get an increased range from 6.5 to 7 tiles. Now, this is not a huge buff, but it's it's a little significant. It's going to make his casting, I guess, a little bit more reliable to make sure it's taking out all those swarm troops in the lane. It will also cause the Barbarian Barrel to hit the King Tower when you have one of the Princess Towers down. However, it will not hit a Princess Tower now. And then last, we have the Lightning. Lightning is now up to 3.5 radius from 3 radius. So it increased radius by 0.5 tiles. So those are the hard buffs. Now let's talk about soft buffs. What do I mean by hard buffs and soft buffs? Well, really, the soft buffs are more like either fixes or fixing something that was causing a card to not be as effective as it was, which is essentially a buff, but it's, they call it a mechanical change. I call it a buff, so we're gonna call it a soft buff. So Hunter, they fixed an issue where he was having problems hitting things at super close range, especially if they were like on top of him, like air troops or something like that. So now he will be able to one-shot with his powerful, really close range, all those troops that are really close to him as long as he's facing in their direction. Next, we have the Magic Archer. Now, this is a real big one. They improved Magic Archer's aim. His projectile speed will be slightly faster with a very subtle kind of honing effect that will go into his arrows, which will steer them closer to the intended target. Now, what does that actually mean practically speaking? It means he'll be able to hit spawners, finally, right? So Spirit Goblins coming out of a Goblin Hut, or, Fire Spirits coming out of a Furnace, Skeletons coming out of a Tombstone, he'll be able to hit them now instead of kind of pathetically sitting there and missing, okay? Then we have Sparky. Sparky, now there was an issue where if Sparky was ready to fire and she was knocked back out of range of the tower or her intended target, she would actually reset. Now, as long as she is in the firing mechanic, she won't be reset. It's a little convoluted there. I did a really crappy job of explaining it, but just know that Sparky's going to get a little bit of a fix on her recharge being reset when it shouldn't be. So hopefully Sparky will be a little bit more viable. Viva la Sparky. Now let's get to the nerfs. We have Dark Prince. Shield hit points nerfed by 25%. Whoa! It goes from 266 to 199 on the shield hit points. For total hit points, this is minus 5%, taking it from 1030 plus 266 or to 1030 plus 199. That's with the shield and the hit points all added in. Basically, all you need to know is that the shield now has the same hit points as the guards. So the Dark Prince shield is just as strong as the guard shield. I still think Dark Prince is going to be viable, though. Remember, it's only the shield that is getting this nerf, not his overall hit points. So I would expect him to still be a strong card, just not as strong as he is right now, really taking over the meta in almost every deck. How about Spear Goblins? I know some of you are going to be a little upset because it does affect Spear Goblins, Goblin Gang, and Goblin Hut, but it's not that major, right? The hit speed is going to be changed from 1.1 to 1.2. Now, some of you might remember that a couple updates ago, or balance updates ago, Spear Goblins went from 1.3 to 1.1. So just like the Skeleton Barrel, this is trying to find a happy medium for Spear Goblins. So it's not reverting Spear Goblins back to where they were before they got that big buff, but it's taking them somewhere in between, okay? The next one is Ice Spirit. Damage minus 4% from 95 to 91, again at tournament level standard, and the freeze duration will go from 1.5 seconds down to 1 second. This makes damage exactly the same as the Fire Spirit's hit points, and no major interactional changes. We have the Tornado. Tornado, the duration is going from 2.5 to 2 seconds. The damage per second, this is a soft nerf by the way, the damage per second is going to go from 58 to 70. So the total damage will now actually be 140 instead of 145. What does this mean? It means that skeletons and bats will now die in 2 ticks instead of 3 ticks. So those swarm units, skeletons, bats, and anything else that you can combo with like a zap or an ice spirit or an ice golem will die faster. However, it's definitely a nerf because the duration going from 2.5 to 2 seconds, you can still activate your King Tower, but it requires a little bit more skill and precision to do so now. So Tornado finally gets a nerf. I say finally because I think a lot of people have been expecting a nerf because of how popular Tornado is compared to defensive buildings for quite a while now. We're finally seeing one in this update. Now, I talked about mechanical changes. Let me rattle those off before we end today's video. Cannon Cart, they fixed a bug that caused it to sometimes not be targetable when it turns into the cannon from the cart, especially by defensive targeting units. Like a giant would just ignore it and proceed to the tower in some instances. So a little tiny, I don't know, I guess it's a buff, no, it's not a nerf, I don't know, it's nothing. It's just a bug fix. Also fixed the frozen or awkward double jumps of the Mega Knight. So you know how the Mega Knight, when he's retargeting, sometimes he can kind of get stuck and he's just juking, or he gets stuck in a jump, or he does a weird double jump. That's going to be gone now and fixed and resolved. They fixed an issue where the witch would retarget after already targeting onto the Princess Tower or any of the towers after her skeletons got pushed and retargeted a troop out of range. Again, kind of a confusing bug. I've never run into it. I don't really play witch, but basically when she's locked onto a target, she'll stay on that target as long as she's in range now. They fixed a flying machine and all air troop issue where when they're pushed back near the river, it used to kind of move them slightly to a different tile because it's an invalid spot to be on the water. That's no longer going to happen because really, because they're a flying troop, any spot on the arena is valid. That's just after a knockback, such as a fireball. And then another kind of interesting change is all spells, with a couple exceptions, so most spells can now be deployed right on the river. If you go to your game right now and try to deploy a spell on the river, you'll get like a weird area where you can cover some of the river, but you can't place it like directly on the river, just a little bit up or a little bit below. Now all the spells are going to be deployed really nicely across the entire arena, except for Goblin Barrel, Log, and Barbarian Barrel. You won't be able to deploy them directly on the river. So guys, that's all for the balance changes. What do you think? There's a lot. This is a big balance change. I feel like I could share my opinions on all these balance changes maybe for another video. Let me know if you guys want to see something along those lines, a more opinionated piece. Today I just want to give you guys the information so you can kind of digest it and think about how it's going to affect your deck. Guys, that's going to do it for today. Hope you enjoyed this video. Huge shout out to Bren Chong, my YouTube partner. Check out his information in the description below. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, take care, guys.